Hello, everybody, and welcome to this ИНИN meeting in Zoom, which is broadcasted in live streaming within the World Unity Week. And welcome to all our speakers and guests from several cities of Argentina, Portugal, Brazil, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and Holland. Thank you for being here today in this supernova room of the World Unity Week to share the ИНИN projects and to meet the speakers who support them. So I welcome Carlos Palman, Simone Ramonolu, Domenico Strode, Enrica Bacchia, Alessandro Pasquali, Paolo Renati, Evelyn van der Graaf. I am Anna Bacchia, the founder of the Consciousness Institute in Lugano, Switzerland, together with the architect Roman Calzaferi, which is with us today, even as a director of this live streaming. And I'm the teacher and the initiator of the ИНИN EDU Project. In honor of our theme, ИНИN, an experience able to remold the world, I propose to start with the video with the last week we have presented in Geneva at the United Nations. Let's have the movie. The essence of life is embodied within man, and our breathing is not other from the breathing of life.
In human history, the great evolutionary steps flourish in syntony with the evolution of the human consciousness that embraces them. And the key to this lies within the coherence of man with the life he embodies, within syntony, within intuition, underlines Anna Bacchia, founder of the Consciousness Institute in Lugano, Switzerland, and initiator of the ИНИN project. ИНIN, an intuitive intelligence still unexplored and anà-logical beyond mere logic, which is enlightening a new epochal evolutionary shift. ИНIN, an intuitive quality that today can bring us to give answers which are coherent not only with the evident needs and questions, but also with the emerging unpredictabilities. And furthermore, through actions which do not ask energy from us, but which offer us energy. Questions, wonder, and inspiration enlighten the man of all times, who never ceases to give shape to unique and transforming perspectives in the human evolution of all ages. From Galileo to Einstein, as in everyday life, answers, visions, and discoveries come to light and transform the life and the relationships of the entire human community. And this is happening even today. But within a new epochal shift, which is opening us towards an advanced envisioning, towards an evolved, expanded intuiting. In such context, today, a new consciousness embraces an extraordinary scientific innovation, that of a young researcher, Alessandro Pasquali, who is bringing to light an outstanding, surprising discovery, an unprecedented input for a new human well-being. We're dealing, Pasquali explains, with an innovative technology which in this era, called the era of light, will help us reduce the electromagnetic impact on living organisms. A data transmission through light, which will offer unique developments in harmony with the nature of man. A society cannot evolve without an evolution of the consciousness of the persons who embody it. Such theme gets particular attention during Anna Bacchia's meetings with Alessandro Pasquali, and they begin to promote this message on the occasion of the 10th edition of One Earth Choir on February 21st, 2021, when Alessandro Pasquali, with the technology he has developed, launches into outer space, riding on light, the music of One Earth Choir, the music symbol of humanity. One Earth Choir, a project by Anna Bacchia. 8 billion different voices on Earth, but one choir, one humanity.
We have many native languages, but one only human language.
A language that in the One Earth Choir is represented by a music conducted by the scientist Professor Ervin Laszlo and shared every year by millions of participants in more than 70 countries within a global gesture of deep syntony, empathy, coherence, awareness as pillars of a new human culture. Today, in the era of light, as Bacchia underlines, riding on light, global evolution is individual evolution. The revolution of an enlightening, innovative technology of communication by light is lit up by the expansion of an enlightened consciousness and of a wise insight, inin, where a new man, intuitive, integral, coherent, is the potential evolutionary pivot of the entire society. While he gives form to the creation of life, of which he is both creature and creator, and while he brings to light intuitive answers sensitive to the life which we all are yearning for.
And in such context, I propose that perhaps we don't need new ideas, new models to substitute the previous, but probably we need, first of all, a new experience, able to really remold the world of our interrelations, of our learning, of our understanding. An experience which I've called inin, and where inin is the symbol of resonance, in, the symbol of the resonance which we propose as the process of life. Inin is even an unexplored intuitive insight and intelligence which enable us to offer answers, solutions, which are coherent with the life which we are. I mean, coherent with the emerging events, with emerging needs, with emerging questions, with emerging unpredictabilities. Imagine coherence in front of the emerging unpredictabilities with actions which give us energy. And an example, Mary, a woman, was diagnosed with cancer, answered, Dr. Harrison, I'm too busy. I mean, I'm so enthusiastic of what I'm doing now that I'm even too busy even to be sick. And she went back home to look after her 4 children and to prepare her painting exhibition. Dr. Chopra, listening to this story, suddenly said, he wrote a book and he said, I suddenly saw, listening to this story, what it was about. It was about the paradox to be normal. It is absolutely normal to be too busy to be sick, he writes. When you are just yourself and you are not a cancer patient or not taken by fear, by stress, when you are just yourself, then the immune response goes to work perfectly. And it creates our natural good health and well-being. Dr. Harrison, I'm too busy to be sick. And she went on, perfectly normal, like that. The paradox to be normal, to be a living being. The paradox to be self-conscious life, the allness, the life which we are, where our breathing, as you have heard, is not other than the breathing of life. And here is the beginning of the inin experience, which I propose in my educational training programs, where we experience that always we can offer solutions and answers coherent with emerging events, coherent with life. And we create we can create this coherence always with actions which give us energy. Which are these actions? I propose in the educational training programs of ININ a pathway where I don't offer concepts or techniques or protocols in order to apply them and in order to obtain something, in order to reach our goals, but I propose directly to live this direct experience of synchrony with our life. And I was starting my speech last week in Geneva at the United Nations. A message arrived to me from Laura, a student of mine, and she wrote, Anna, I'm living for Greece. It is what I was dreaming. I was yearning for, joining the sound of the sea, joining the infinite of creation. I've trusted it, and it has been possible. Thank you. My healing pathway is perfectly going on without me constantly fighting against, but flowing with. And today we all are protagonists of grand shifts. And we know that every step of any evolutionary shift in the human history flourish with the development of new human qualities, of a new human awareness, with a new extended consciousness, a new self-insight, and interrelation with the world. And today, in the current era of digitalization, of the theories of complexity, even our epochal evolutionary transformation calls for a change, an expansion, a new interrelation of ours with the world. How? Let's see some examples. The current epochal shift is a radical shift, as grand as the period when the era when humanity passed from the pre-verbal time to the era of verbality, where men started to use words, and then along the millennia, the human experience started to be translated into words, into definitions, into logic thinking, into logic verbality. And this happens even today, when we identify our experiences with logical definitions, ideas, and models, and in such ideas and models determine and influence our beliefs and our answers. Let's make an example. In this image, which we are going to see now, it is possible that we understand, that we see how much our logical thinking is able to influence our answers, our solutions, the ideas which we start to transmit and perform. And now that we have the image in our screen, we can compare, for instance, the tree which is on the right with the tree which is on the left. And if we compare them, we can even say that the tree on the right appears higher than the tree on the left. And we use, in general, to define our experiences of space and distance into the concept which affirms that objects that have the same size appear as smaller as they are distant. That's why, in this image, the tree on the right seems higher than the tree on the left. But if we cannot be influenced by our logical definition, we can see something else. And in order to get this freedom from our logical definition, it is sufficient that we look this image upside down. And in this moment, we can see that the two trees on the left and on the right have the same size. When we are free from our logical definitions, we see what is there. And the question is, in general, do we see what is there or what we think that there has to be, according to our models, to our assumptions, or our beliefs, or our definitions of reality? But today, just the emerging event bring us to change completely our relationship with the world, starting from a radical consciousness and awareness of our sensible perception of life. How? We have another example and parallelism that we can make through other images. And for instance, the first of the images which we are going to see brings us to see an academic model of thinking painting. And in this painting, our relationship with the landscape, with the world, is created by predefined lines where our experience of the world is engenders into a linear perspectives. We can have other example of this. Our relationship with the world is created by predefined lines, and the experience of the world becomes a representation of which is engendered by linear perspective. But this linearity is the symbol of the linearity of our logic language here. A logic language which freezes our experiences of the world while we identify our experiences with the logical definition of them, as we have seen. But a grand evolutive change happened. And in the interrelation with the world was expressed by the most natural and grand quality of the human life, the human sensibility to perceive and to respond to life. This gave form to the shift from the academic school with the perspective to the impressionist painting. The linearity was transformed and a sensitive, intuitive perception emerged in synchrony with a new consciousness and a new interrelation of the man with the world. But the same thing happened even in the theater, where again a new interrelation with the life emerged, and the actor on stage was not requested anymore to perform a role predefined, but the role vanished and the actor started to express the sensibility of a human being. These examples resounds our epochal transformation, first from the linear logic thinking to a sensitive and aware perception of our life which we are. Then, from the roles which we perform in our daily theater of life, to the paradox to be normal, to be a natural human being, aware, self-conscious allness, as Professor Paolo Renati, which is one of our co-speaker of today, is writing in his essays. But how this transformation from linear logical to a new perception, a new intuition, and from the roles to a paradox to be normal, how this transformation can happen. And we can start to recognize now the nature of our life, where the rhythm of our heartbeat is not other from the perfection of the rhythm of the cosmic motion. Our life is a flow, and in the 70s, Fritjof Capra used to write, our life is a flow of infinite possibility which are inscribed within us, which ourself can create, and we can create such possibilities every time which we can give a new answers, a new beginning, a new change, while the mathematician Edward Lorenz underlines the smallest change in variation which can be created here now can engender an humongous revolution in the whole system, where all is interconnected and entangled. Dr. Chopra says, underlines that every time we perceive, we feel fear or anger, 30 trillions of cells immediately show the molecules expressing our fear in our cells. And the theories of complexity shows that the same thing happens with phenomena and processes which show the entanglement when in the cosmos and a particle changes its spin here. We know that in the other hemisphere, the related particle changes immediately as spin. There is no time there. It is a mystery, says the logic thinking. But notice that the logic thinking defines mystery. What is the ineffable experience and poetry of life? And today in science, as well as within the most ancient traditions, we today can recognize that the nature of all that exists is vacuum, is consciousness, which emerges in our space-time dimensions as frequencies, as waves, as information, a notion of information, we can say, in which we are immersed and in which we are made. We can perceive, and we always can perceive this information. And when we used to perceive them, we say, something is saying to me, I don't know how, but something has brought me, has suggested me, has told me, has touched me. And when we say this, we recognize that we are not subject of an action which we are doing, but we are only instrument of resonance, or instrument which receive information. And constantly the intelligence of life, that field of information, flows in syntony or in resonance with our intuitive antenna. It is something like when we are in our sailing boat or in our daily surfing, while we determine a course, a starting point, our goals, and then winds emerges. Winds unpredictable, constantly changing, and constantly in our daily surfing, we can be always reached by the winds of the emergent events. Follow the unpredictabilities. We are requested to follow, to change, without knowing one instant before what we have to do one instant later, and we can only change direction of our sail immediately if we don't know, if we don't want that our sailing boat capsizes. to follow the information. And while the field of information, the ocean, we could say, of information constantly emerges, influence and reaches us and gives us information, and we are informed. That is the moment when we are not informed by the mainstream, but we are informed with life itself. And in the inning process, we recognize that our intuitive antenna constantly receives the information. And if we follow it, we can give form to something new, something which has never exist, which did never exist before. And we can create this if we can follow, if we are in synchrony with the intuitive information, we create actions which give us energy. We are created and we can create resonances and discoveries and perspectives and new solutions coherent with the emerging events, coherent with the emerging unpredictabilities. And this is the place, the non-local place, let's say, the non-local process where art, I mean our daily creation, science, I mean our daily discovery, and answers coherent with life, meet. Art, science, and coherence, meet and are the same process. Marco Bersanelli, professor of astrophysics at the University of Milan, collects the experience of the grandest scientists from Galileo to Gell-Mann, who argue intuitive certainty constitutes the most fundamental form of knowledge which engenders the whole subsequent rational investigation. Peter Mary, about such intuitive processes, Chief Innovation Officer of the Ubiquity University in California, says, "Life flows through me rather than me running my life. It does not feel like me doing something, but rather it being done through me." And in the German language, a sentence says the same thing, and the sentence sounds, "Es atmet mich," life is breathing me. And in the inning vision, we experience that there are all sorts of things going on that we can't know about, but information is here in the information field of life, which we are. What if life would be only what we think of it? How we define it? And in such sense, I propose to experience our current evolutive transformation as a radical shift from logic thinking to analogic intuitive consciousness within our daily art of change, where we are oriented to give voice to coherence, where we are created by resonance and intuitions, and we can respond creating coherence and synchrony, where our intuition and insight recognizes how much our thinking and our presence influence and create the emerging events. And at the same time, how in our daily surfing, the emerging events perfectly orient us not to create our predefined goals only, but to create our own pathway and bring us to express our own natural attitudes and qualities for which we are born, for which we can experience the paradox to be normal, to be the life which we embody, which is all that exists. The paradox to be normal, which brings us to perceive and experience that our flow is perfectly going on when we stop fighting against something. And the paradox to be normal brings brings us to perceive that, as Master Dominic De Fazio says, there is more music in a leaf which is falling than in a perfect written score. And now we open a space of music, the music of billions of voices on earth, where in the consciousness, ИНIN consciousness theater, Enrica Bacchia, which is a teacher of giving a voice to ИНIN, creates 2 minutes of teletransportation, which bring us through the grand variety of all the voices of the earth. Let's see the video. Enrica Bacchia. Thank you to Enrica, and now I want to introduce the speakers which support the ИНIN project as partners or consultants or innovators. I give the floor, first of all, to Carlos Palma, which is the founder and director of the Living Peace International in Portugal, from Portugal. Carlos Palma.
Yes, hello to everyone. And thank you so much, Anna, for this amazing presentation. Living Peace International is a peace education project that was born in Cairo in 2012 during the Arab Spring Revolution. After 30 years living in various Middle Eastern countries, I felt a strong desire to contribute to peace, to spread a culture of peace that replaced the culture of war, in which the young generations were born and grew up. It's a project of life, living the values that generate peace within me in the interpersonal relationship with the world and nature. Today, there are more than 1 million children, teens, and young people committed to and for peace in 152 countries, from different races, cultures, and religions. Having found Anna and knowing the wonderful work that she has done in these years to contribute to peace strongly attracted me, starting a deep and concrete synergy among us, participated in the In Consciousness Life and Networks program of the Consciousness Institute. There have already been several international events in which the youth of Living Peace International have participated in, together with Consciousness Institute. Our youth have shared their projects and activities in favor of peace. Knowing the spirit that animates everything that Anna does, the values presented by her for the creation of peace and the diffusion of its culture has strongly motivated this youth the young people to go ahead. Today, Living Peace International and Consciousness Institutes, we work together, giving each one the best of himself to be testimonies of a world of peace that already exists, because it begins in our heart, spreading it around us. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos, for your contribution, and thank you for, I am glad to say thank you for all your personal support to the development of our projects for the young people, most of all. Thank you to Carlos, and now I give the floor to Simone Ramolulu from Brazil, which is the president of Antacarana Institute and the president of the Club of Budapest, Brazil. Simone Ramolulu.
Hi, everybody. A lot of emotion, a lot of good feelings in my heart. Thank you very much, Anna, and everybody to be here at this present moment with all of you. My message will be very simple. It will be, most of all, an invitation to everybody, to every single human being, to remind that all we need is to reconnect with our heart and mind through righteousness, goodwill, joy, and first of all, we need to reconnect with beauty. Those values are probably the one we just forgot in a part of our life. And that is the only thing that I want to share with all of you from the bottom of my heart. Please accept my invitation to connect through beauty, righteousness, goodwill, and joy. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody, for this very special opportunity to be all together again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Simone, for your touching message, which we embrace. Thank you for your presence here today with us. And the floor is now to Dominicus Roder, our director of the World Peace Forum, which is here from Argentina. Hello, Dominicus.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, greetings from Argentina, greetings from the winter. It's cold here in Argentina today. But the presentation has brought a lot of light and a lot of warmth into the room. And I'm so happy. Thank you very much, Simone, for your wonderful words. Thank you, Carlos, for always bringing the youth onto our great journey. A little bit, I feel like we are embarking onto Noah's Ark today. I feel that we are bringing together a lot of color, a lot of diversity, a lot of many countries, many continents onto this journey. And I'm honored to be able to be part of today's presentation, Anna, and thank you for the little space you can give me in my function as president of the Schengen Peace Foundation in Luxembourg and of the World Peace Forum. So many of you have been able to participate in our different World Peace Forum editions on all continents. We believe that a new global consciousness is on its way. We believe in a world free of borders mentally and free of physical borders. And we have to open up our minds, and you help us, Anna. Every time we can meet, you help us to open up our minds and to free ourselves from so many square thinking. Since our intensive workshops, Anna, that we had with you and with Roman in Medellin, in Colombia, in October 2019, I think we've been able to partner with you in this a great journey of the ININ consciousness and life networks with the Consciousness Institute from Lugano. So I feel very privileged that together we want to spread this important new global movement, as I see it, across all continents. It's very important that today we are connected from in so many different time zones. Here it's 1 o'clock. I'm just about to have my lunch when we're finished. Today is another important step towards our common goal. I think we're able to reach out to so many people through the social media channels that are connected. I'm very confident, I'm very positive that our collaboration and our shared initiatives and bringing so many of us onto that same boat will help us reach our final objective, which is creating a world of peace for the generations to come. So thank you very much, all of you, for your time. And thank you, Anna, for your inspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominicus, for your presence, for your words, for your encouragement. And I just start from your words to take the opportunity to announce that with you in particular, but even with Carlos Palma, with Simone Romonoulou, with Paolo Renati, with Alessandro Pasquali, Evelyn van der Krat, and Bacchia, we are now creating a new international team of the ININ life leaders, which can bring into the world the ININ experience as aware instruments of the current evolutive shift. Quindi a new team of ININ life leaders is going to start with the collaboration of all of us. And now we have the brand really a gift to have with us Alessandro Pasquali, the researcher, entrepreneur on photonic communication from Switzerland, which you have seen, he has launched the music of ININ into the outer space. And today it is our guest as a co-speaker, just to let us to see and to hear from him directly something about his revolutionary adventure.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks to all of you to have this opportunity to be here connected. Yes, my mission, we can say, is more on technological on evolution about telecommunication systems. But when I met Anna, when I met Roman, we had the same feeling that all of us daily lives in his life. And the feeling was that it's important to have a revolution. Firstly, it is important to have a revolution inside to each one of everybody. So we need to understand how is our consciousness, and we need then this new approach in thinking, in understanding the universe, understanding a lot of things happening daily to all of us. And once that we understood that we also share with the same research in our life in different aspects, with Anna, we also said, okay, we can also promote together this message. We can make something different together, and this is a very important feeling and opportunity for all of us. I think that we are here because I'm sure that all of us has something unique about this. Personally, I'm working on new telecommunication systems. So it means that today you know that there are radio waves solution to communicate, for example, mobile phone, satellites, and a lot of other applications like Marconi or other scientists did in the past, invented. But I'm working on communication based on light rays. So imagine to make mobile phone satellite transmission or internet application using photons, using ray of light. And as I very often say, we are so in 6 years ago was in the International Year of Light of UNESCO, and 6 years ago UNESCO said that last century was the century of traditional electronic, traditional, we can say, low frequency electromagnetic waves, and the century that we are in the century of light and photons. So I'm working for this, so to make happen that our century can be more of the light as possible, and so soon you will see the first radio of lights and the first new devices. And Anna tested also the first device, my first radio that I created based on light. Exactly, this is exactly like a radio, but you can listen the sound of sun, the sound of any kind of natural light, and also artificial light transmitters. And we are continuing. So it was a big emotion for me to give the first device to Anna. And so we are continuing in this direction of giving good vibration, like light vibration to the world. And so I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to share this with Anna and with all of you. So thanks for inviting me today.
Thank you. Thank you, Alessandro, and thank you for your grand revolution, which you are creating with your contribution and research. And now I'm pleased to introduce Paolo Renati. Paolo Renati, leading physicist, humanist, enlightened innovators. Paolo has inspired a lot of the research and a lot of the exploration, a lot of the poetry of the ININ, and in such sense he is my brother in research. And so I give the floor with grand joy to Paolo Renati.
Thank you, Anna. You're too kind. Thank you for inviting me in this occasion and hosting in this important World Unity Week. I'm not professor, I'm just a researcher. I want just to say that the vision and the message that is being shared here is crucial for a profound existential and anthropological, but also scientific and epistemological switch. In fact, in my opinion, it's really necessary to carry out a profound work of review on the tools of knowledge to realize the human revolution that we are calling for here. There can be no social or economical, educational, as well as political revolution if a critical analysis of the profound limits that afflict the current scientific logos is not first carried out. This logos in science is the same that translates directly into the practices of technology in the mainstream and absolute and capital and the globalism and whatever, corporationalism and things that we know. I've been spending for 10 years my studies into trying to reframing the scientific description, trying to show that being a reality not made of parts, if we do not address our scientific quest through an approach that is able to transcend as much as possible the categories of the part per se, the isolable object, the quantity, we cannot overcome a fragmented conception of the world, of nature, biosystems, and humans that must be intended now as knots in the web of life, just to quote Fritjof Capra again. Our mainstream physical tools to describe the world and condensed matter especially refer mostly to quantum mechanics, that actually is a semi-classical approximation, not able to deal with relationships, but only with particles postulated, okay? It is actually a limitation of a truly realistic quantum physics, that is quantum field theory. I think that by adopting a genuine field view, we can overcome many inconsistencies and paradoxes engendered with the conventionalist framework of quantum mechanics. And we can open up some scenarios that deals with the emergence of fascinating dynamics like perceptions, semantics, adaptation, memory, evolution, the connectedness in living systems without introducing metaphysical dualism. So I think that the science, if we want to be worthy of its name, must become able to deal with experience and not only with measurement, to deal with relationship and not only with parts, to deal with beauty, like Simone told before. I agree completely with this. And the science must acknowledge the analogical nature of life or reality, because this is the first step to make the shift and the lift that all of us are desiring. Thank you so much to everybody. I hope so much to meet personally some more of you, and thank you, Anna, for this great occasion.
Thank you, Paula. I hope that we'll have the opportunity to hear you in our appointments and meetings about ININ and about your research. And now, Evelyn van den Kraat, the director of the World Water Community, which is our co-speaker with us, and I thank her for her grand work in the theme of the water, for the grand contribution that this theme is bringing today in our society. Thank you, Evelyn, and I give you the floor.
Thank you, Anna. I think you have all said it already, so I can be quick. I also see the time. And what Paolo said, we need to shift from logic to analogic. What you always say, we need to start to intuit and live from the consciousness. It's really what I found also during my water science years, and also the reason why I saw that water just needs a world water community, that we need to start working together on this. And there's so much knowledge already, and we need to spread that work. So the voices all around the world need to unite for water. And I guess water is also the place to, and studying water is also the place to start this new way of doing science and relating. So yeah, I'll keep it short. We are launching the platform this week.
Thank you, Evelyn. And thank you most of all, for all your dedication to the water and the research on the water and what this produces for all of us on Earth. We have just the time to thank you, to say thank you to everybody of you, and to end this meeting with the images with Masaru Emoto has created for us for the water, when he created a movie which represents how the water has responded to the music of the One Earth Choir when we share it during the One Earth Choir Day. And the music of One Earth Choir, the symbol of our humanity, is spread all over the world from all the voices which are sharing it, and the voices which embrace that we have many native languages, but one only human language. That music which represents this, it has been created of this music is being created, the reply of the water, and this is the movie. On these extraordinary, amazing images, probably we have the most grand expression and experience that our interrelations with life is ineffable, is amazing, and there are no words that can really express our experience of beauty and of the mystery of life, which we are.